Today I thought it would be fun to talk all things holiday crochet, what I'm planning to make this year, things that I think are going to be trending, and just some free fun patterns that I found for you guys to follow on Pinterest to hopefully give you a little bit of inspiration. I'm going to break this video up into different sections of what I will be sharing, but as an overview, there's going to be ornaments, garland, tree skirts, stockings, blankets and pillows, wearables, and then a miscellaneous category of anything else that I find. As always, I will have a Pinterest board linked in the description below that will have a ton of free patterns. I think most of them are free, if not all of them, along with a lot of inspiration and even maybe some more that I will be adding there that is not talked about in this video, so definitely check out that link in the description. I think we're going to start with garlands because I have been on a real garland kick this year and I think they're so cute and I love all the videos of people making them. So first, I want to talk about trends in garland because I do think it has become a very big thing and people like to make their own, and I've seen quite a few things on social media. So let's talk about what I think will either be trending this year or is a trend that I just love, and then we'll get into all of the garlands you could make. As far as trending garlands go, I know this one was trending a lot last year and maybe even the year before that, but this is one that I'm seriously thinking I might make this year, and it is the bow garlands. These seem super simple. Most of the ones I've seen, the bows are just made with I-cords, and if you have an I-cord maker, I'm sure this would go even faster, but you can also make I-cords with crochet hook, and you can also make I-cords without anything and just with your fingers. There's lots of tutorials for that online if you want to go that route. I think these are so cute. I love the ones that are red, green, and white. I think that's the color palette that I would do if I made one, and I'm seriously thinking that I might make one maybe after this video because I love these and I love how they look. I've been loving all of the bows this year and I think it just gives huge holiday vibes for me, so I'm loving that and I think I'm going to make that one. One of the big trends I've seen on social media this year are the paper ring garlands. I've seen tons of people make these. It's bringing back that like nostalgic vintage Christmassy feel. I think this would be super easy and fun to make out of scrapbook paper, but I have seen a few patterns for some of these made out of crochet. This is another one that I think would actually be quite simple. Obviously, you'd have to crochet a lot of rings, which would probably just be long rectangles that you would then sew together into the rings. I've linked a few patterns on Pinterest for these, but I think that would be super fun, and I think it would be an interesting take on it if you did the crochet version. That would be another fun one to make. As far as other garlands, if you follow me on social media, then you saw that I just shared a snowflake garland that I made last year, and I still love this one. I think it is so unique, it is so fun to make because I do love crocheting snowflakes. I think it's interesting how each one turns out different in their own way. I think this is a fun one that you can use a lot of different yarns, and this could almost be like a stash busting project because you can use all of the different weights of cream and white yarn that you have. And I just think this is a super fun one that ends up looking super beautiful when you hang it. I have a little step-by-step tutorial that I posted for this on social media. It's also linked in the Pinterest board, but this is also a super fun one that you could just make your own. This is one that I have made in the past, and I do love it. I have it on my tree every year, and that is the bauble garland. It's really just made up of a bunch of bauble stitches, and it actually works up really quickly. I used like a fuzzy yarn to do this so that it kind of looked more like cozy and almost like little snowballs on my tree, which is what I love so much about it. So this is another really easy one, and I think the one that I made honestly took me like maybe an hour because I used such a thick yarn. I think it's better if you do use thicker yarns for this one, so that's another fun one that I have done personally and love the look of. This is not one that I have done, but I have seen a lot of people do it, and that is the like faux popcorn cranberry garland. I think these are super fun. You use little red beads for the cranberries and then you make the popcorn out of the yarn. I think it's like a popcorn, almost like a bobble stitch. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't made this one, but it looks super cute, and if you're into that like nostalgic Christmas kind of vibe, this would be so cute on a tree or even just layered on garland on a mantle. I think you could have a lot of fun with this one, and it's super unique, and I love this one. This was another one that I found that I haven't really seen many people make, but I thought it looked really pretty, and it was a poinsettia garland. So they just crocheted a bunch of poinsettia flowers and sewed them together into a garland. It looked super beautiful on this person's mantle, and I think this is a fun one if you are into the more like poinsettia florals of Christmas. I'm sure there are so many other garlands that you could make, and I will definitely be updating my Pinterest board when I find more. So keep an eye there, and if you know of any, put them in the comments down below. I'm always looking for new garlands to make, and I think they're just so cute and fun and can really add a lot of personality to a space or a tree. So keep an eye there, and I will definitely look for more because I'm loving garlands right now. Let's kind of stay on the tree vibe and talk about ornaments next. If you were following me last year, then you saw that I decorated this little mini tree with a bunch of crocheted ornaments, mostly inspired by Christmas movies. And I'm planning to do something similar this year, so definitely leave ideas in the comments below if you have any ideas of what I could decorate this tree with. But I love crocheted ornaments. I think they just add so much personality. They're a nice little handmade thing, and some of them can even be passed on from generation to generation. They also make really good gift tags. If you're into the whole gifting handmade things, you can make little crocheted ornaments of things that the people you're gifting gifts to like and add them onto the gift as a gift tag, and it can also be a little extra gift that they can put on their tree. I've done this in the past with sweaters. I made little knit sweaters with everybody's first initial on them. I'll add a photo here. It took me so long, but I genuinely loved it, and I love when I go over to my family's houses and see them on their trees. It just gives you that like warm feeling. So that's another fun way that you can use ornaments. I added a whole bunch of patterns for ornaments on my Pinterest. There's candy canes, bells, trees, mini sweaters, gingerbread men, snowflakes, you name it. There's just pretty much anything you could think of to make an ornament out of. I probably have it linked there. So definitely check that out. There's a ton. One thing that I love, and another thing that I'm planning to do this year, is look up some vintage patterns for ornaments and make some of those. They're usually made out of crochet thread, and then you use something like a fabric stiffener, a starch, or a glue to stiffen them so that they hold their shape. My great-grandmother made tons of these a long time ago. She made angels and little bells, and even just added some appliques to some ornaments. And these have been passed down through our family for decades now. They started on my grandma's tree, and then my grandma gave them to my mom, and my mom gave some to me. And I think this is just such a special thing that like can become such a family heirloom. I'm planning on trying to remake some of the ones that she made this year just to kind of see if I can do it. But don't discount vintage patterns because they're usually really cheap on Etsy, like $1 or $2, or you can even just find them for free on the internet. And some of this stuff is beautiful craftsmanship and stuff that really can just be passed down from generation to generation for decades to come. So I think that's all for ornaments. Again, I'm sure I will find more and I will update the Pinterest board as I do, so keep an eye there. Last note on the tree element is tree skirts. I've seen more knit and crochet tree skirts this year than I think I ever have. So I think this would be a super fun one to make, especially if you have like smaller trees and only need a smaller little skirt, or even if you have a big tree. I think this is another one of those things that could bring that nostalgic vintagey feel to Christmas, and another thing that could probably be passed from generation to generation. I linked a few tree skirt patterns. One of them I think was inspired by the like 6-day star point blanket that everyone was making a couple years ago. These are also super easy that you could make them your own and make them fit the color, the aesthetic of your Christmas tree. I might make one this year, we will see. So that's definitely on my radar for this year. This is kind of Christmas tree adjacent, as in it usually sits by the Christmas tree, and that is stockings. This is also one that I really want to make this year. There are so many handmade stockings at the stores. They're usually knit or like cable knit. There were some Hearth and Hand at Target ones that looked very crocheted, and I just think these are so fun and could be so special if you're making them for your family or your kids. You could really make them to each person and personalize them in different ways. So I think this would be super fun to do. I've linked a few patterns. There's some that are as easy as just making a bunch of granny squares and then sewing them into a stocking, some that are more complicated, some that use bobble stitches, some that use stripes, some that just look like a giant sock. There's really no limit to what you could make with these stockings, and I think they would be super fun. So I'm definitely looking to make a stocking this year, if not a few. And this is one that I will be probably updating a lot of patterns for as I look for one for myself to make. So I'm sure I will update that. I think this would also be super cute if you know how to embroider, or you could even just do surface crochet to put people's names on the top of them, almost like those like name sweaters for the babies. I think it would be so easy and so cute, unless you have like a really long name, but even just their first initial, you could put that on the top or somewhere on the stocking. I think that would be so cute and would add that personalization element to it. So definitely consider making some stockings this year. If you're an amigurumi fan, there are tons of really cute like plushies and things that could definitely be considered like a pillow almost that you could put on your couch or on your bed. So I linked a few. There was a candy cane, a peppermint, I've even seen some like gnomes, gingerbread house, a snowman, a snowflake. This isn't really Christmas, but I made a giant turkey last year. That's kind of just chilling on my couch as a pillow. So that could be super fun to make as well, so that you don't have to go out and buy another pillow from Marshall's or Home Goods or whatever. There's been a big trend this year of gingerbread. I've seen almost every store have a gingerbread collection. So you could even just make a gingerbread pillow, and that would be super cute on a couch. That would be another fun one that you could definitely personalize the way that you make him look. You could give him a different face. You could decorate him differently. That would be really fun. So I'll definitely try and make sure I have patterns like that linked in there. There was also a blanket that I had linked in my Pinterest board of peppermints. It was like a bunch of circle peppermint motifs that were almost sewed together into a blanket with a matching peppermint pillow. So that was really pretty if you wanted to make a blanket. I think I also saw a granny square blanket they were granny squares, but they had little Christmas trees on them because it is the coziest time of the year and all you really want to do is snuggle up on the couch with a nice cozy blanket and watch Christmas movies. So what better than a blanket that you made? Next, let's talk about wearables. Obviously, winter and the holiday season is the time for sweaters and hats and scarves, and it's really what I think crocheting and knitting was intended for, was this season. I have made tons of crochet hats and beanies that come together really quickly and are just super cute, and I make a lot of them with the yarn that I already have, so it's kind of like a little stash busting project. But if you're trying to be a little bit more festive, you could definitely make Santa hats or red beanies with a white brim and a white pom-pom, or maybe a Grinch beanie and a matching Grinch scarf. This is another one that is really good for gifting, are hats and scarves, especially if you live in a place that is super cold. I live in Arizona, so not the best to gift, but these are super fun and you could make them personalized to the colors that the person likes, or maybe you make a striped one, and there's nothing better than a handmade gift. So I've added a bunch of patterns down below, and I will continue to add some as I find them. There's lots of crocheted sweaters too. I didn't add that many. I did add a few festive ones. There was a granny square vest that had a Christmas tree on it, and I'll add some more like Christmassy themed sweaters, but obviously that's a fun one that you can make during the season too. The miscellaneous category is a little bit small, but I will definitely keep adding things if I find them. One in this category that I'm very interested in and might try to make myself this year is a wreath. If you get one of those like wreath foam rings at a craft store, I think it would be super fun to crochet around that or add to it and make your own handmade wreath. I think that would be so fun. So I'm definitely looking at that this year to possibly make myself. There's also just tons of fun little plushies that I found online, little like pocket Santas and snowmen and yetis and little gnomes that you can crochet yourself. So I've added all of those there, because they didn't quite fit in with any of the categories, but they are still fun and still something that I'm interested in possibly making this year. Another one that I love that is kind of in this category is mug rugs. I think they would make great gifts as well. This one is knit and it's kind of old. It was one of my first knit projects, but it's just a little rug that you can put on your desk or on your nightstand or even just in your kitchen, so that when you're drinking your coffee, it won't spill all over the place. It's basically a glorified coaster, but it looks like a little rug, and there's nothing better than miniature things. So I love these. They're super easy to make, and you can make them holiday with the different colors you choose. So that's another fun one that I always try to make one to fit the holiday season, and they would make great gifts to this season. Just pair it with a little mug, and you got a great gift for someone. That's all that I have. I'm sure there's a ton of things that I missed, so do not hesitate to put them in the comments down below. As I said earlier, definitely check out the link to the Pinterest board because I will be updating it and adding things. Most of the patterns that I'm linking on there are free, so definitely take advantage of that. Make sure you're following me on here and on all of my social medias because I will be posting all of the things that I decide to make this season, and I have big ambitions, so hopefully I can follow through. But it is the coziest time of the year, so it is the perfect time to crochet all day long with Christmas movies and hot cocoa and coffee and all of the fun things. Definitely subscribe because I will be posting a ton more content this season. And let me know in the comments what you're going to make this season. Let's try to give each other all inspiration for this holiday season. Bonus points if you can link a pattern too. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.